There is a version of this story where the Muppets quietly disappeared. In 2023, Disney launched a brand new Muppet series, The Muppets Mayhem. The Electric Mayhem Band gets their own show. It seemed like exactly what fans had been asking for. One season, canceled. No announcement, no finale, no explanation. The series just stopped. And then something strange happened. Within the next 12 months, Disney announced a new special, a redesigned theme park attraction, a Miss Piggy solo film in development with 2 Oscar winners attached, and booked the Muppets onto the biggest sports broadcast in human history. Same franchise, same characters, completely different energy. So what changed? The answer isn't a new strategy, it isn't a new executive, it's a number. A very specific number that Disney had circled on a calendar for years, and 2026 is the year they cashed it in. The Muppet Show premiered on September 5, 1976, which means that in a matter of weeks, on the 5th of September 2026, the franchise turns 50 years old. Whether Disney marks that exact date with something we don't know about yet, we'll see. But everything you're about to hear suggests they've been building toward it for a very long time. Let's start with what happened in February. On the 4th of February 2026, a 32-minute special aired simultaneously on Disney Plus and ABC, not just Disney Plus, ABC, broadcast television, the kind of placement you don't get unless someone at the top of the company made a phone call. The special was produced by Point Grey Pictures, that's Seth Rogen's company, and directed by Alex Timbers, a Broadway director whose previous credits include the original staging of Moulin Rouge. These are not names you attach to a low-priority streaming filler project. These are people with options. The special brought the gang back to the original Muppet Theater. No reboot framing, no modern meta-commentary about how things have changed, just the show. Sabrina Carpenter sang Islands in the Stream with Kermit and Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy wasn't originally part of that number. She rode in uninvited, Kermit ended up in the water, and by the final verse, the lyric had been quietly rewritten to "From one diva to another." Nobody complained. The special drew around 8 million viewers in its first 8 days and landed a 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes. But here's the detail that mattered most, and most people missed it. The special wasn't presented as a one-off celebration, it was structured as a backdoor pilot. The ending left a door deliberately open. If you watch it knowing that, the whole thing reads differently. This wasn't nostalgia, this was an audition. An audition for what? Exactly. That's the open loop this whole year is trying to close. Now let's talk about a number that puts everything else in perspective. 50 years. Think about what that means for a franchise built on felt and foam. The original performers who gave these characters their voices, most of them have retired or passed away. The core audience who grew up watching The Muppet Show in the late 1970s is now in their 50s and 60s. Their children grew up with the 2011 film. Their grandchildren are on TikTok watching Sabrina Carpenter. Disney has a very narrow window where all 3 of those generations are simultaneously reachable, where nostalgia, legacy, and current pop culture intersect in one franchise. That window doesn't stay open forever. Everything you're about to hear is Disney walking through it as fast as possible. If you've been to Disney's Hollywood studios in Florida anytime in the last 2 decades, you probably remember Rock and Roller Coaster, the Aerosmith one, launch coaster, fake limo, Steven Tyler screaming at you as you hit 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. On the 26th of May 2026, that ride reopened. Same track, same launch mechanism, completely different story. It's now called Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. The premise, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem are late to their own sold-out concert. Muppet chaos ensues. You're recruited to help get them there. The ride features over 30 minutes of newly filmed video content, shot specifically for the attraction, plus new audio animatronics in the pre-show, and prominent appearances from Miss Piggy and Bean Bunny. This is not a cheap reskin. Filming 30-plus minutes of original Muppet content costs real money. It requires the full performance team, set construction, post-production, and probably more development time than most people realize. Disney committed to that investment for a theme park attraction that most guests will experience in under 3 minutes. That tells you something about how seriously they're treating this anniversary window. Subscribe if you're new here, by the way. This channel exists specifically for this kind of analysis. The Muppets as a serious cultural object, not a punchline. Now let's talk about July 19th, the FIFA World Cup Final, MetLife Stadium, New Jersey. One of the most watched single sporting events on the planet, with a global audience projected in the billions. The halftime show will feature Madonna, Shakira, and BTS, curated by Chris Martin of Coldplay. And within that production, the Muppets have a confirmed presence. So does Sesame Street, which makes this one of the rare official crossover moments in franchise history. Two properties that are normally kept strictly separate, sharing the same stage in front of the largest possible audience. Think about what that placement means. You don't put felt puppets in front of a billion people because you think they'll go viral. You do it because you want to signal that this franchise has cultural weight, that it belongs in the same conversation as the artists surrounding it. It's brand positioning on the largest possible stage. And it lands less than 2 months after the roller coaster reopening and nearly 5 months after the special. The calendar isn't accidental. Nothing about this year is accidental. The last piece is the one with the most long-term implications and the one that surprised people the most. In November of 2025, Jennifer Lawrence announced on a podcast that she and Emma Stone are producing a Miss Piggy solo film at Disney with the screenplay written by Cole Escola, the Tony Award-winning playwright behind Oh, Mary, one of the most talked-about Broadway productions in years. The film's central tension, as described by Lawrence, is this. Miss Piggy has always seen herself as a naive ingenue, a sensitive romantic, even though she is objectively a self-obsessed diva with violent tendencies and zero impulse control. The film wants to take that contradiction seriously. When W Magazine asked Emma Stone whether she would be playing Miss Piggy herself, her response became immediately quotable. She called the suggestion the biggest insult to Miss Piggy she'd ever heard. Her exact words, "Why would I play a literal star? She's the greatest. Miss Piggy is playing Miss Piggy." Neither Stone nor Lawrence will take the role. Miss Piggy will play herself, as a puppet, as she always has. Stone and Lawrence are expected to appear as human characters alongside her, in the tradition of every classic Muppet film before this one. That clarification matters, because it means Disney isn't trying to replace the character or reimagine her through a human lens. They're giving her a solo vehicle and surrounding her with some of the most serious creative talent working right now. The project is still in early development, no green light, no release date, but the combination of this creative team, this studio, and this particular moment in the franchise's anniversary cycle makes it very hard to imagine it doesn't happen. And here's why it matters beyond the casting news. Miss Piggy has never had a solo feature, not in 50 years. The fact that her first one is being positioned as a sharp, self-aware comedy written by Broadway's hottest new voice, that's not fan service. That's a statement about what kind of franchise Disney thinks this is capable of being. Now, and we have to address this, the 5th of September is in a matter of weeks. 50 years of The Muppet Show, and Disney has made no official anniversary announcement yet. That silence is unusual. Look at the rhythm of this year. February, May, July. Something every 2 months. It would be extraordinary if September came and went without a response. A Disney Plus anniversary documentary? An official series greenlight? A merchandise campaign timed to the date? We don't know. But deliberate silence from Disney almost always means something is being prepared. We're watching closely, and so should you. So let's put the full picture together. In 1976, The Muppet Show premieres. It was never meant to be children's television. Jim Henson pitched it as variety programming for adults, satirical, strange, and structurally chaotic in a way that made it unlike anything else on air. 50 years later, Disney is making the same argument. The special brought back the original format on broadcast television with no apologies for what it is. The film in development is specifically not aimed at children. It's a sharp character study with two of Hollywood's most serious actresses behind it. The roller coaster is themed around the band that was always the most adult-coded ensemble in the franchise. The FIFA slot puts them in front of an audience that has likely never sat down to watch a Muppet production in their lives. Whether all of this leads to a new series, a theatrical franchise, or simply resets the brand for the next decade, we won't know for another year or two. The September date is coming. What Disney does with it will tell us a great deal. But 2026 is clearly the year they decided the Muppets needed to mean something again. Not nostalgia, not a children's brand, something harder to define and more interesting than either of those things, the same thing they were always supposed to be. If this kind of analysis is what you're here for, subscribe. We're a small channel. Every single subscriber actually matters. Thanks for watching.